Hello, good morning everybody. I'm former United States Congressional Candidate Kari Ilonummi with a very important message. Welcome to my place. Now, we have entered into a new dynamic, politically speaking, in which everything is on the table. Times are changing very fast, and I also have to say this. I want to give you, the people, credit. That's right. As much as I've been hitting people on all sides of the spectrum, it's now liberal progressive Democrats, along with conservative Republicans, are beginning to not play the blame game, but beginning to rein in and hold your own kind accountable. This is a very exciting new dynamic that is shifting into play. As I've said before, we have to look at our own kind and look in the mirror and judge ourselves before we judge other people. So I'm very excited about this development, and I believe that things will continue. Today, I'm helping what would be with a team across the nation work in concert together as I read a script on the phone to the Alabama state legislature, whatnot, regarding saving Judge Moore. Judge Moore, senator, is a candidate, obviously, for Senate, and he's expected to win the race. Besides, you have to set aside anything that you've been told in the news that he's 10 points behind. No. The candidate that he has going against him is spending like $30 million in comparison to his 2. And guess what? Judge Moore is still winning. Judge Moore is a special case, and if the powers that be can remove him from this race, literally steal the election from him. Remember how they tried with Trump? Russia, Russia, Russia. And they found out who was doing Russia collusion? Surprise! It's Hillary. That's right. So Russia collusion was right. It was real, but it wasn't our president. It was the phony fake that tried to become your president and steal the election, as typified by Hillary Clinton. So here we are today. We have to save Judge Moore, because if they can remove Judge Moore based upon allegations that haven't even been proven, guess what? They can keep anybody else from the Senate and House as well. And that is what they're trying to do. They are very worried of the circumstances, because if Judge Roy Moore gets into the Senate, he typifies the beginning of a new dynamic unfolding in which guys like me and you can get to the Congress. So, God bless. Thank you so much for your support, everybody. Take care, keep fighting, and stay up with the news, because the times are changing rapidly and there's a lot more big action on the way, and I can't wait to be the one to help you see that. Have a great day.
I first met Bill Clinton in the mid to late 70s. He was an up-and-coming politician. There were a group of us, Jim Guy Tucker, Bill Clinton, Sheffield Nelson, and myself, and we kind of ran around and palled around with each other. It was from that point that I did a lot of projects for Bill from a marketing perspective. In 1988, I went to Bill, and I said, I need a job to kind of relax, mellow out. Bill Clinton and Betsy Wright, they suggested that I go to work for a place called the Arkansas Development Finance Authority. And they said my talents could really be used there. It was the best kept secret in Arkansas. The fact that I was brought in by Bill Clinton meant that there was something about me that everybody had to be careful with. After about 2 weeks, I went to Wooten Epps, and I said, Wooten, I think I've got enough background on this that we can start marketing it. Now, what is the criteria for loans? He said, whoever Bill wants to get a loan. To go back, though, to that moment in time, I'd been there about a month, and I realized that I was in the epicenter of what I'd always heard about all my life. What most people have heard about is the machine. I was literally working, sitting in the middle of Bill Clinton's political machine. It was where he made payoffs, where he repaid favors to people for campaign support. I was in an interesting seat, and I knew it. In that particular board meeting, I was sitting at the end of the table. James Branyon, who was chairman of the board at that time, was sitting at the head of the table. James Branyon stood up in a public restaurant, and he hollered at the Beverly Enterprises guy, Bobby Stevens, and said, did you get the $50,000 campaign contribution from the client that you're introducing the loan for? He said, not yet. He said, well, then hold up the loan till we get it. I stood up, went up to James. I said, James, Don't yell stuff like that. You don't need to be yelling it in a restaurant. That sounds real bad. He was just burly and arrogant. He said, who cares?
Bill Clinton sold the concept of ADFA to the people of Arkansas as a vehicle for creating jobs and assisting churches and schools. In reality, millions of taxpayer-guaranteed dollars were being channeled to Clinton's election campaigns, to his inner circle of friends, and to his wife Hillary's law firm. This may explain why ADFA had been drafted in such a manner as to keep its decision-making procedures secret.
If you needed $1 million, you had to get your application handled by the Rose Law Firm, pay them $50,000. There were 5 other companies in the state of Arkansas that were actually more qualified in bond structuring and applications, but Rose Law Firm got them all. I started checking around, and I kept asking, well, one thing's bothering me to the comptroller, Bill Wilson, how do people make payments on these loans? He looked at me and said, they don't. He thought I knew. Well, that blew my mind. And this is about 2 months in, and it was getting tough then. So I started gathering the documents. After everybody left, I would stick around as if I were working on the annual report. That would give me access to all the documents, and I made copies of them all. For about 2 months, I watched accounts accumulate money. At the end of the month, they zero balanced. I didn't understand totally what that meant, but I thought I'd go ahead and steal the records anyway. I did. It was soon after that I met a man named Bill Duncan. Bill Duncan
discussions about how the money was
took
going to be administered.
the zero balance, and he told me what that meant. He said, you know what that means? I said, oh. He said, they're laundering drug money. There were $100 million a month in cocaine coming in and out of Mean, Arkansas. They had a problem. They were doing so much money in cocaine, $100 million. You create a problem in a state like Arkansas. How do you clean $100 million a month? ADFA until 1989 never banked in Arkansas. What they would do is they would ship the money down to Florida, a bank in Florida, which later would be connected to BCCI. They would ship money to a bank in Atlanta, Georgia, which, by the way, was later connected to BCCI. They'd ship to Citicorp in New York, which would send the money overseas. And there was an interesting one, a bank in Chicago. That bank, by the way, is partially owned by Dan Rostenkowski. Dan Lassiter would get the bonds. He would become the broker for the bonds. He would transfer money back to ADFA. He never sold a bond. The money then would leave ADFA, go into one of the various banks for the specific bond loan, and they would zero it out. When they zeroed it out, they were giving it back to Lester, Lester handling fees. Your president, the President of the United States, not only was a part of the system that was laundering millions of cocaine dollars, your president signed off on it. He can't deny that he did. You see, because of that, there's one little catch. Every loan that ADFA made, Bill Clinton himself had to sign off on it. More than Bill Clinton. You better identify the people in the loop of the drug running. You better identify the people in the loop for money laundering. And what you'll find there is those people go straight to Washington. Act 1062, if you look at it, it says that ADFA was developed and created to provide low-interest bond loans for churches, schools, colleges. So now look what happened to our legislature. They voted on the bill creating ADFA, thinking that they were getting money to colleges and schools to buy books and so forth. What better way to run thousands of, tens of millions of dollars, launder it, clean it up, and use the cover of a state agency to do it. The first loan made at ADFA was made to Parkometer, a company called Parkometer. Seth Ward was the owner. As I started looking, I found out that the Secretary Treasurer was Webb Hubbell. And then I found out Webb Hubbell was Seth Ward's son-in-law. Guess who drafted the legislation creating Act 1062, which created the Arkansas Development Finance Authority? Webb Hubbell. Guess who introduced the legislation to our legislators and got it passed through our House? Webb Hubbell. Guess who got the first loan? Webb Hubbell. Imagine this. Guess who did the audit and the evaluation of the application? Rose Law Firm. You guessed it. Who signed it? Webb Hubbell. Hillary Clinton. You see, that's against the law in Arkansas. You can't investigate yourself when the good faith and credit of the state of Arkansas is involved in a bond issue. He broke the law. Good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Mr. Hubbell will be serving some time in the pen for that one.
Ironically, Webb Hubbell, a senior partner at the Rose Law Firm, was chairman of the Conflicts of Interest Committee at Rose. In 1988, he successfully advanced the Ethics in Government Act, which required Arkansas legislators to report governmental conflicts of interest. Incredibly, this law specifically exempted Governor Bill Clinton, his appointees, and his relatives. Clinton's appointment of Hubbell to the U.S. Justice Department exemplified the administration's total disregard for legal ethics. Hubbell's hasty resignation in March 1994 for supposed overbilling of Rose clients was merely a ploy to remove Hubbell from the limelight before extensive criminal charges could be brought against him.
Let me tell you about Parkville. The first loan was $2.85 million. Never was a penny of that paid back. It was all a scam. They had, let's say, 100 employees when they started. They got $2.85 million. You know how many employees they had after they got that influx of cash? 100. Didn't increase anything. It's not a new building on the property. They didn't even remodel a bathroom. As the newspaper people started inquiring about the Parkometer loans, what they found was that instead of making parking meters, Parkometer was actually building retrofit nose cone compartments that were being shipped to MENA. We find out that the nose cones were actually being used to smuggle dope back into the country. And what is scary, what's so scary, it's the same cast of characters. Webb Hubbell, the Rose Law Firm, are guilty, I say to you, of conspiring to defraud the state of Arkansas, the federal government, and conspired to solicit the sales and the laundering of money for illegal drugs. This is your president. This is a circle of power. These are the people, when he got elected president, he did not pass go. He took them straight to Washington with him. And all things holy, I think he was planning to set up and do the same thing in Washington.
Hello everybody, I'm Kari Ilonummi, your host with the NoSpendNewsSource.com monthly report for December 2017. And thank you so much for joining us. Those first two videos were pretty explosive in a nice, exciting way to start out the foundation of today's show. I have more videos for you as well, but before we go there, let's go into some news articles, shall we? The times are sure exciting. U.S. police covertly spy on innocent citizens with military hardware, according to a news story. Democrat John Conyers threatens to take the whole damn swamp down with them. That's right. These people got so much dirt on each other, it's kind of like Hillary. You go against her and you're a Democrat, well, she'll make you look just as bad as the other side of the aisle. Good old Hillary. All right, Franken, that's right, another Democrat that's supposed to be for women's rights. That's right. Old Senator Franken that has, you know, the ones with the groping photos and all that. That's just the beginning. Well, he says he will not resign, but he's embarrassed and shamed. Now, if it was a Republican conservative that was accused of groping women in their sleep and sexually molesting and abusing them, oh, I think the left would have them chopped up on a table, metaphorically speaking, and destroy them. But it's one thing when it's their own kind. Very interesting, contradicting, and sad to say, because we're discovering that it's not really the liberal left Democrats that are really supportive of women's rights and minorities. They're actually playing many of you for fools, as sad as that is. Just like Obama claimed to be for people of color, well, my Native American friends and African American friends have discovered they aren't able to buy themselves a home. They're not able to do the stuff that they thought they would, having a black president after 8 years. And you can't blame Trump because they were rioting in Seattle, well, with the outcome of the elections before Trump even was a city council member, or should I say, inaugurated as the president of the United States of America, before he ever took one day of public office. So it's very sad and a shame, but we're discovering that it's really not always the left that is really protecting women's rights and whatnot. They just play many of you on their side to get you, just like people of color, just like the gays, so on and so forth. They're doing it for votes, they're doing it to look good. Just like, honestly, many conservative Republicans are no more Christians than anybody else, but they claim to love Jesus because that helps them with their support base. So I'm not just putting down one side here. Both sides are to blame at many things, but we're talking about sexual abuse and whatnot at the moment and women's rights. So just food for thought. Anyways, Nancy Pelosi defends Clinton, Conyers, and Franken, but attacks what would be Trump and calls Moore of Alabama a child molester. Now that's a perfect example right there. You see, when it's a Republican that allegedly even, we don't even know if it's true or not. And there's a lot of evidence. I'm not trying to take up for more here, folks. There's a lot of evidence indicating that that yearbook, there's a reason why the yearbook that was allegedly signed by Judge Roy Moore as a district attorney at the time, there's reasons to believe that that was actually forged and not signed by him at all. And for some odd reason, 2 weeks later, the attorney of the lady that accuses that will not allow forensic testing to be done of that yearbook. Why is that? Honestly, if Judge Roy Moore is a sick pervert that hurt children, he needs to be destroyed before he gets to the Senate. But if you're not going to, put your money where your mouth is and prove the allegations, you can't just say, we got evidence, but we refuse to let you see it. Come on. That's shoddy, to say the least, and not very appropriate. But once again, as I mentioned, Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House and whatnot, Democratic minority leader of the House from San Francisco, accuses Moore and says he's a child molester and shouldn't be running for office. Even many Republicans have said the same thing, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. But it's funny because Nancy Pelosi as well, in a video that you'll see in a little bit, states and actually defends some of her Democratic lawmakers in Washington that has actual ample evidence against them for abusing women's rights and sexually harassing people, and saying, oh, well, we need to allow due process to figure this out. And she dodges everything that she can when it comes to holding these people accountable. So once again, it's politics. If it's our own kind, we protect each other. If it's the other side, we say, oh, how dare them. I can't believe they did this and violating the women's and the minorities' rights. Or like Pocahontas, that's right, Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Democrat, came out and said, I can't believe President Trump making these racial slurs at this Native American event. Trust me, folks, he wasn't making racial slurs. He's not stupid enough to do that. He's not a racist, by the way, just to let you know. I'm not trying to defend Trump here, but it's just how it is. And Elizabeth Warren is the one he referred to as Pocahontas. He wasn't being smart and being rude and throwing racial slurs with Native Americans. He was actually making a joke out of Senator Elizabeth Warren, because Elizabeth Warren, to get her job as a prior to Senate, to get her job as a professor, lied. That's right, she lied on the paperwork stating that she is a Native American in order to get that job. So that he referred to her as Pocahontas. He was being funny toward her. She don't like that. Well, that's just how it is. And it's funny because Elizabeth Warren has a real Indian running against her from India. And so this is going to be an exciting election for 2018. I'd like to see Elizabeth Warren tossed out by that Indian man, quite frankly. I'd much rather see him there than her. He seems like a pretty decent guy, quite frankly. And I'm not, it's just how it is. So anyways, before we do continue, MSNBC's Mika, that's right, the daughter to Zbigniew Brzezinski, says that Bill Clinton must apologize for abusing women, and they're even saying Hillary Clinton needs to stop this, whatnot. Is she was one that stated about Trump and the ultimate video footage, or should I say audio that came out. I can't remember who published it at the moment as I'm put on the spot. Anyways, some entertainment magazine of some sort, and anyway said, how horrible he is allegedly Trump is toward women. And now we're finding out, guess what? Bill Clinton actually settled several multiple actual rape charges. I'm talking full-blown, forceful rape, hold someone down and whatnot. Really. So this is coming out. No wonder why Bill Clinton wants his wife as well to step out of the limelight of politics and give up, because if she keeps digging and digging, he's going to be the one looking bad too. But that's just how it happens. So let's see this video of MSNBC's Mika telling what would be Hillary that she needs to stop this and Bill Clinton must apologize for the abuse of women. See it for yourself.
I'm not sorry, actually. Hillary Clinton needs to stop. She needs to stop talking about this topic unless Bill Clinton wants to come forward and apologize.
Take a listen to what she had to say, and then I'll tell you what President Trump had to say on the other side.
We have a man who's accused of sexual assault sitting in the Oval Office, don't we? And the very credible accusations against him.
Welcome back to the monthly report for December 2017. Thank you for sticking with us once again. The firm behind the fake Trump dossier, that's right, regarding Russia, well, guess what? Paid journalists for work. That's right. It's all an inside job, folks. It was a hit piece in ways to try to disrupt those elections. Everybody expected Hillary to be your president, including me. I was wrong for one of the first times in history. I've only been wrong on a handful of forecasts over the years, over the past decade and more even, but that was one of the few 2 or 3 major forecasts I was wrong on. And I'm actually delighted by that, even though I didn't vote for Donald Trump myself, that I have to say that Hillary would have been 10 times worse. She's a liar, she is a crook, so on and so forth. I mean, Hillary Clinton stole the nomination, as we know, by Donna Brazile, former head of the DNC, African-American woman, stated this on the video from what would be the last show that I provided for you for November. So, wow, what a dirty bird. No wonder why many Democrats, once they realized that they weren't going to have Bernie and he was the popular one on the left, no wonder why many of them jumped ship and said, we're going to go with Donald Trump, because they saw how crooked she was when it comes to Hillary. And yes, it is crooked Hillary. So 21 new gun control measures now being advanced by Democrats in Washington, D.C. United Syrian opposition delegation will negotiate without preconditions. That's how it should be. When you come to a table, there should be no preconditions. It should be everybody has a say, everybody gets to put in their 2 cents, and we have a mission to find peace. Feds. According to the feds, a U.S. group kidnapped an Arizona man for the Mexican cartel. That's right, we have major crime and things happening in collaboration with Mexican drug cartels happening here in the United States. Very, very bad. Soros, George Soros is sheltering $18 billion that American tax authorities can never touch. Larry Klayman of Freedom Watch has filed a complaint in Washington, D.C. federal court to have Special Prosecutor Mueller removed. Hillary Clinton is banking on Robert Mueller for her 2020 run for the presidency. That's right. She plans on coming through. If she has to steal it, take the baton right out of your hands, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, left, Democrat, progressive, that's right. They did it before. Bernie Sanders should have been the DNC Democrat nominee for the president for 2016. His popularity here alone in the district that I reside in, Washington State, the 2nd district, in which I ran against Congressman Rick Larsen himself last year for 2016, well, Congressman Rick Larsen, a Democrat, decided to go with Hillary instead of you. The people of Everett, 2/3 of them wanted Bernie. 70% of Bellingham wanted Bernie. You know what Rick Larsen said? Sorry, you're going to get Hillary. And that caused many of you, even liberal Democrats, to realize, wow, our own kind is playing us and using us just as much as anybody else. And some of you didn't want to vote for me because I ran as a nonpartisan independent, but some people see me as a little bit more conservative than the hardcore left. And conservatives see me as liberal, so I guess that must be somewhere in the middle. But nonetheless, I digress, that ultimately people are discovering the true colors of their candidates, from the conservative end of what would be Republicans to the so-called liberal end of Democrats. And step by step, people are not very happy with those candidates and the people that you've come to love and support over the years with your time and tax-paying money that you so hard you go to work for every day to earn. And to find out your own kind is the one that did you in is very upsetting and troubling to many people on the left and right both. And I don't blame you. This is something I've been warning many people of for years, and now it's just starting to really be shown in your face. If I haven't given enough of an example, go down to the grocery store and look at those prices of food. Remember how you used to go out with a whole cart overpacked? Now you can't afford that $6 a pound steak plus? There's an example. Remember when you used to bring your kids to go grocery shopping and you could let them pick out some items? Now many people do not even bring their children grocery shopping. Why? Because they feel bad as you're going by all those items, all that candy, all those snacks and things that you would want to be able to buy your children, just as you would have had done for you by your parents and grandparents. But now, finances are hard. This is the fruit of Obama. This is the fruit of our Congress as well, including the Republicans. So many people are discovering it's time for a change, real change that we can believe in. So, with our next video, we will have what would be former FBI ranking whistleblower expose of what would be Special Counsel Mueller's conflict of interest. And we'll catch you right back after this break.
General Michael Flynn, former National Security Advisor to President Trump, is being investigated by special counsel for accepting legitimate payments from Turkish companies for researching and exposing wanted terrorist and radical Islamist Fethullah Gulen and his $25+ billion criminal network in the United States. Former FBI Director Robert Mueller is the special counsel in charge of the case. He is the same Robert Mueller who used his position as director of the FBI to shield and cover up Gulen's criminal terrorist network and operations and take drastic measures to quash a whistleblower's Gulen-related reports. These previous connections and actions by Mr. Mueller create a direct conflict of interest with his current position as a special counsel in Flynn's case and require that he must immediately step down from the case. In May 2017, the Justice Department appointed Mueller, a former FBI director, as a special counsel to oversee the investigation into ties between President Trump's campaign and Russian officials. Not long after being appointed, Mueller began targeting former National Security Advisor Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, expanded the investigation beyond the Russiagate probe, and began a furious pursuit of Flynn's Turkish connections and his vocal stand on the wanted radical Islamic cleric Fethullah Gulen. Mueller's inquiries went from Russia connections to Flynn's outing of Gulen's $25 billion sleeper terror cell in the United States. Not finding any substantial evidence against Flynn within the Russiagate scope, Mueller's team switched gears and started a Turkeygate. Mueller's prosecution team and FBI agents have spent hours going over the details of Mr. Flynn's perfectly legitimate business dealings with a Turkish-American businessman who worked with Flynn's consulting business, the Flynn Intel Group. Why? Because the business arrangements included research for and exposure of the world's largest radical Islamist network, operating in the United States for over 2 decades, the Gulen Network. The targeting of Flynn through consolidated Obama White House leaks and one-sided media attacks began 6 months before the special counsel appointment. It started with an editorial penned by Mr. Flynn on November 8, 2016, when he became the first public official to unabashedly expose the radical cleric long protected by multiple government agencies, the CIA, State Department, and of course the FBI, starting under President Bill Clinton's administration.
Fethullah Gulen and his transnational social movement. I want to thank you for your contributions to America, for your contributions to stronger Turkish-American relationships and better understanding, and especially for your friendship to Hillary and to me.
By writing and publishing this strong commentary, Flynn not only took on the enormously powerful Gulen's terrorist network, but also the wrath of the CIA and the FBI, the intelligence and law enforcement agencies tasked with bringing Gulen into the United States in 1998, his grooming, and his ongoing protection for over 2 decades. Former FBI Director Robert Mueller was directly involved in quashing and covering up Gulen and Gulen network-related cases within the FBI's counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and white-collar crime divisions. The dossiers and mountains of criminal and espionage evidences on Gulen's network resided in multiple FBI field offices, with the FBI's Washington, D.C., Chicago, and New Jersey field offices being the 3 most important investigative centers on the case.
It's clear that it should go forward because the Justice Department's own Inspector General concluded that her allegations were fully supported and that the FBI terminated her services because she made them.
Look, when the Attorney General came initially and invoked the state secret privilege, okay, he cited 2 reasons: to protect certain sensitive diplomatic relations and to protect certain foreign business relations of the United States. Now, they are saying that whole information, everything, is classified. We don't know what diplomatic relations they are referring to. They must be ashamed of it because they don't want to mention it. So we have certain diplomatic relations that prevents criminals being, prosecuted here. And I'm talking about the criminals in the United States of America, American citizens. I'm not referring to only foreigners.
Mr. Mueller was the primary official responsible for the invocation of the state secrets privilege, gag orders, and retroactive classification of congressional records in my case, the Sibil Edmonds case, a large part of which pertained to criminal, terrorism, and espionage-related operations conducted by Fethullah Gulen and his network in the United States. Gulen's money laundering and terrorism-related operations have been known to the FBI for 2 decades. It was only after the attempted coup in Turkey that some of these facts began surfacing in the mainstream media. Despite the publication of mounting criminal evidence against Gulen's operations, to this date, the FBI has continued shielding these terrorists. As the longest-serving FBI director, Mueller was in charge of the FBI's investigations and pursuit of Gulen and his network for 11 years. During his tenure, he not only continued the same policy and practices of his predecessors in shielding and protecting Gulen's criminal network, he went even further by quashing and covering up reports and cases involving Gulen's terrorist, criminal, espionage operations through retaliations, invocations of the state secrets privilege, and hindering congressional oversight and investigations through retroactive classification. Mueller, due to his direct involvement as former FBI director and his role in covering up and protecting Gulen Network's criminal operations within the United States by shutting down pertinent FBI investigative operations and by transferring certain terrorism-related Gulen files to the Counterintelligence Division, has a major conflict of interest as a special counsel targeting Flynn's case as it pertains to exposing the Gulen network and his relationship with Turkish entities sharing the same interest in exposing and extraditing Fethullah Gulen. Thus, Mr. Mueller must step down from his position as a special counsel in this case.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Monthly Report Show. I'm your host once again, Kari Ilonummi, and we're moving onward with the show. Where are the president's lawyers? Positive predictions on Robert Mueller are both naive and dangerous, according to what would be special, Larry Nichols, which is an attorney, formerly with the Justice Department, alumni. Fusion GPS caught hiding bank transactions from House investigators. Fusion GPS was hired to prove Trump-Russia collusion after the alleged DNC hack. Vatican threatens to excommunicate priest for criticizing Pope Francis. A mother, an Air Force veteran, jailed over a handgun in New York, sent to Rikers Island. That's right, she didn't really commit a crime, she just had a handgun. She was from out of state, was driving through for protection, had a handgun in the car, and got arrested. She opened up the glove box when she, I guess, got pulled over. The cops saw that, and she's sitting in Rikers Island with real hard criminals, gun charge over simply having a gun, a veteran. That is horrible. That really is. I mean, if we want to take guns away from somebody, do it with the crazies, do it with the people that are doing the crimes. Don't take away the guns from decent, law-abiding citizens that aren't hurting anybody, that just wants to protect their family. So, at this point in the road, we're going to hit another video real fast. We're going to see Representative and former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, regarding Representative John Conyers' sexual abuse of women. Watch how dodgy she is with these things and how she tries to say due process and everything versus hold this man accountable. She even has the nerve to say regarding John Conyers that he is a champion of women's rights. Well, if that's the case, he's sure a hypocrite if he's a champion. So, this is something that you have to see for yourself, ladies. This is something that many Democrats have to see for themselves. See it for yourself, and we'll see you right back.
You said there's now a zero tolerance.
Yes.
John Conyers, what does that mean for him right now?
Let's say
in or out?
We are strengthened by due process. Just because someone is accused, and was it one accusation? Is it two? I think there has to be. John Conyers is an icon in our country. He's done a great deal to protect women, Violence Against Women Act, which the right wing is now quoting me as praising him for his work on that, and he did great work on that. But the fact is, as John reviews his case, which he knows, which I don't, I believe he will do. I believe that he will. Excuse me, may I finish my sentence? Sure. That he will do the right thing.
And is the right thing what? Resign?
He will do the right thing in terms of what he knows about his situation, that he's entitled to due process, but women are entitled to due process as well.
But he took advantage of a situation where he had the rules of Congress, and I know you guys want to change these rules, but he got to hide his settlement. He got to, his accusers had to go through all sorts of craziness. So why is he entitled to new due process in this case?
No, we are talking about what we have heard. I've asked the Ethics Committee to review that. Yeah. He has said he'd be open. It will cooperate with any review. Excuse me.
Do you believe John Conyers is accused?
I don't know who they are. Do you? They have not really come forward. And that gets...
And you don't know if you believe the accusations?
Well, that's for the Ethics Committee to review. But I believe he understands what is at stake here, and he will do the right thing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Well, Mitch McConnell, senator, is losing the war against the Republican base. That's right, he is a Republican, but he's not actually really being a Republican, as funny as that is. And he's losing the war amongst his own people. Times are changing, folks. They really are. Alabama Senate hopeful Doug Jones defended a man with ties to the KKK and Holocaust deniers. That's right. So before you say Judge Roy Moore is a child rapist, well, his alternative is a defender of a man tied with the KKK and Holocaust deniers. Boy, what an election down there, eh? Judge Roy Moore is actually 6-point lead over his liberal contender, Doug Jones, after accuser allegations are beginning to really fall apart more and more. Congress panics over the sexual harassment bombshell. Everyone is walking on eggshells asking who is next. That's right. We've discovered about Hollywood, such as Weinstein, which has, I hear, like 3 different charges pending against him now. That's right, criminal. Not just civil, criminal. And people are very scared in Washington, D.C. It's going to continue as well with other variables and whatnot. and people being caught up in the pedophilia and the sexual abuse. And many of these people, we're finding out just as many, if not more, are actually liberal Democrats than they are Republicans. So get ready on both sides to have to hold your own accountable. But it's okay. These people have did you dirty and lied to you. I'm talking Republicans have lied to you in the Congress. They pretend they're for Jesus or this or that when they're really pimping the system. Many so-called of the liberal left try to say they're for women's rights, minorities' rights, this is and that. So they're for the gays. They're for all kinds of freedom. Heck, Nancy Pelosi just said due process. Well, that's funny because she was quick to accuse Judge Roy Moore, and she never said anything about due process rights for him. She never said anything about innocent till proven guilty. Oh, we should allow the House Ethics Committee to decide. She didn't say those things for him, now did she? And as I mentioned, what would be Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell hasn't either. As a matter of fact, he told Roy Moore to step down over alleged misconduct. So it's funny. It's a very interesting double standard in Washington, D.C., as you can tell. Such hypocrites. But before we move on, let's go back to Sibil Edmonds, what would be an FBI agent regarding the 2 coups in motion. And we'll see you right back.
An intriguing international criminal case shrouded in mystery known as the gas for gold scandal. A Turkish, Iranian, Azerbaijani billionaire at the center of the largest money laundering scheme in world history. A potential double coup targeting 2 countries, the U.S. presidency and Turkey's Erdogan. A new twist consolidating an ongoing special counsel probe with an international criminal case. A man at the center of a scandal who mysteriously disappears from federal prison cell. At the same time, an unnamed new prosecutor is added to the special counsel team. In this Newsbud exclusive, we will provide the most comprehensive analysis in the case of Reza Zarrab, the high-profile people closely involved from President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, Michael McCasey, and Robert Mueller, to President Erdogan and major Turkish bankers, and the likely manipulation of the case with serious implications for 2 presidents.
Welcome back, everybody, as we finish up what would be the monthly report for December 2017. Coming down to a close. Well, here we are. We sure had the wool pulled over our eyes for many years, and now the wool is being taken off and the light is being shown in. Don't worry, it doesn't matter if you're a progressive liberal Democrat or a conservative Republican. We've all been played, we've all been lied to, and these people have been in cahoots with each other. And as you're discovering that the Democrats are working behind your back with Republicans and the other way around, well, somebody needs to be held accountable. If someone's going to tell you something that runs for politics, they need to be honest, real, and you deserve that. Sometimes a guy like me, which will be a candidate over the next 3 weeks for Congress, doesn't always tell you what you want to hear. Conservatives get just as mad at me as liberals. Liberals tend to see me kind of conservative, and conservatives see me as kind of liberal. Go figure. I guess that means, once again, I'm somewhere in the middle. Nonetheless, these are the times we're living in. Somebody has to hold these people accountable, and I can assure you of this. Everybody. No matter who they are in Congress, including people that will be of my own party, I promise I will hold them accountable. Because for me, it's not about left or right. It's not about conservative, liberal. It's not about this or that. It's about you, the people. And I'm willing to listen and work with any of you that's willing to sit down, listen, and work with me. So, just to let you know in advance, I will be running as a Republican. That's right, in the 2018 elections and whatnot. And that'll be officially kicking off in December over the next few weeks. But don't get scared, my dear Democrat friends, because as I'm running as a Republican, I'm also will be running against a staunch conservative Republican in Eastern Washington. I plan on removing them from office and taking their seat with your help. That's right. And I will be, while I'll be a Republican, I will be a much more moderate Republican. I'm not really full liberal, I'm not really full conservative. I don't fit in on the extremes. And in a time of extremes, of polarity, when we see people getting further and further apart, somebody needs to bring the citizens of Washington State and our nation back together. Somebody needs to bring the jobs back. will read my lips. I am that candidate. I am that man. And I promise to stand by you. We don't always have to agree with things, but if you're willing to work with me and listen to me, I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, in my dear constituency of the great state of Washington State, I promise to stick with you and I will never let you down. No matter what my own party says about me or what they try to do or this or that. I won't just follow the party line blindly. I promise you that. So we have a couple of closing videos for you. I hope you enjoy today's show very much and find it just as informative as the other ones. I work real hard in academia and to do what I'm doing for you, the people, on a note of statecraft in politics. I care about my constituency. I look at everybody as like a member of my family, and I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to bring back jobs. I'm going to bring back things, standards of living. And it's going to cause many people to want to put down the needle and the drugs and whatnot because despair is going to go out the window. I'm going to help bring back hope. And when you have hope, you won't need to shoot heroin or do hard drugs. You won't need to hurt yourself to numb the pain because you'll have so much to live for that you'll have to take better care of yourself. Just like 10 years ago, most people were not on hard drugs. They took better care of themselves. They couldn't afford to go to jail and screw up, get caught with a hard substance in their urinalysis at their job because they had something going for them that they could not afford to lose. So when you got things going, when you have things going for you, it keeps you walking the straight and narrow. It keeps you wanting to be a good person and doing what you got to do. We see a lot of people fall apart. I know people who had a great job 3 years ago that are now out to sea, losing custody of their children, on hard drugs, and living a wild life at the age of 45, 48 years old that weren't even doing that at 18. So I have to set aside variables just like we all do in order to work together as a family. Just like a father figure will come home, lay down the law in ways, but you can't fight forever. It's sometimes the job of a father to lay down the law, but it's also the job of a father to see to it that the family sticks together. I'm done fighting with people besides those crooks in DC. There's no reason for us to be fighting amongst ourselves and each other. We need each other, folks. We have to come together to force good candidates into Washington, D.C. And I hope, like I said, to be just as good and influential and positive for the liberal left side of the spectrum as much as I do for the Republicans as well, even as I'm running as a Republican. I'm much more moderate. I don't want to be extreme. I never have been extreme. So I'm finishing up right now, everybody. I thank you so much for watching this show. Please share, please like, and share this with your friends and let them know nospinnewssource.com and Kari Ilonummi is a place to go for unbiased, true news. Because I don't just put down one side of the aisle or the other side of their party. I put down the Republicans and folks as well. So from now till then, what will be the January show? Take care of yourselves. Have a very happy holiday. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our nation and the state of Washington, and I will see you very shortly. Take care.
Now, I know you all are getting ready for the Thanksgiving holiday. Mm-hmm. You have the turkey in the oven. Yes. You got the ham bacon. Mm-hmm. You got the greens and the candied yams on. Yes. You done already made the sweet potato, the pumpkin pie. Uh-huh. And then you get the table set. Yes. Everybody sit down and have a meal to give thanks. That's right. And then now somebody want to bring up politics. They want to jump off. So, what I got to do is tell you all what to say to these people. That's right. As soon as they want to jump off. Mm-hmm. You got to come back with this. He's your president. He's your president. I don't give a darn if they start talking about what happened last week, what he tweeted yesterday. You come back with, he's your president. He's your president. They want to get at the table and start acting stupid and start tripping. Yeah. All you got to do is come back with, he's your president, he's your president. Oh, if they want to talk about his tweet from yesterday, or what he said to this one and that one, you just come back with, he's your president, he's your president. Oh, they may try to talk about all of this other stuff that's going on in the world, and always trying to tie our president to it, but you just holler out and just tell them, he's your president, he's your president. You know I get tired sometimes of family members coming over, they bringing all this potluck stuff, and you know darn well they don't know how to cook. That's right. They don't have any seasoning in the candy yams. They don't. They use that ham hock and the greens, and the greens still didn't turn out right because they didn't do something right. And eggshells are still in the potatoes. They got to get that food right. And sometimes stuff can jump off at the table, and it don't even have nothing to do with the They're going to want to get bothered about you hold yourself back. And then you just sneak and say, he's your president. He's your president. Oh, let him know he's the president of the United States. That's right. Now, see, last year, we put up with the bull. That's right. Last year, we put up with the sugar honey iced tea. But this year, it is official. Yes. He's your president. He's your president. Oh, you know what, Sil? Yeah. I get so sick and tired of everybody always got something to say. And then they try to blame it on our president. Yes. You bump your toe, they want to blame it on the president. You hit your ear, oh, it's the president. You ain't got no money in the bank, oh, you want to blame the president. You done took it, you done burnt the turkey, now you want to blame the president. Well, y'all ain't gonna sit at the table with that BS. No, you're not. Now, we put up with that BS last year, but we're not putting up with this year. No, we're not. When they come to the table with all of that, you just reached over and touched him and say, he's your president, he's your president. Oh, he's your damn president this year. Yes, you know what? He was your president last year. Yes, he was. But we were just trying to give y'all a break because we know that some of them snowflakes was real sad about it. Yeah, very sad. Forget about being sad this year. That's right. It's been 1 year later. 1 year. He is your president. Deal with it. That's right. Or get over it. Build yourself a little bridge. Climb up the ladder and get over it. He's your president. Yes. This year, we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. Yeah. And guess what? What? He's your president. He's your president. Now listen. Don't drink too much. Not too much. You don't have to drink too much. Not too much. But if somebody want to go there, always come back to them with, he's your president. He's your president. Happy Thanksgiving, you all. Enjoy the day. Don't get in no fight. No fight. Now let me get my drink back.
My fellow Americans, Melania and I would like to wish you a blessed and joyful Thanksgiving. Nearly 400 years ago, the Pilgrims gathered with Native Americans to give thanks to their first harvest. Just over a year before, in September of 1620, the Pilgrims set sail on the Mayflower to settle a new land where they could live and worship freely. They came to this continent with few resources, but rich in faith, courage, and dreams. They endured a treacherous voyage across the ocean and long days inside the ship's cabin as storms raged wild. Then, when the Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth, their first act was to pray. Soon they persevered through the months of bitter winter. With the help of Squanto and the Wampanoag tribe, they survived and began to build a new home for their families. On their first Thanksgiving, they came together to rejoice after their harvest and praise God for his provision. Since then, Americans have always remembered the blessings of freedom and the glory of God. In his first year as president, George Washington proclaimed a day of public thanksgiving and prayer. He asked all citizens to unite in sincere and humble thanks for God's providence and the founding of our country. And in the midst of the Civil War, President Lincoln made the last Thursday in November a national holiday. He called on Americans to come together with one heart and one voice to thank God for his gracious gifts and to ask him to heal the wounds of the nation and to restore it. Today we give thanks for all of the Pilgrims, pioneers, and patriots who have gone before us, and for all those warriors who have kept us safe and free. This week we know that thousands of men and women in uniform won't be able to come home for Thanksgiving. They're standing watch around the world, facing down our enemies and defending our great American flag. We are eternally grateful for their courage, heroism, and sacrifice. We also thank Americans at home who serve their fellow Americans in need of a helping hand. Families who care for the sick, bring food to the hungry, and provide a loving home to children across the country. This year, in the face of painful hardships, we have seen the incredible strength of the American spirit. Neighbors helping neighbors, strangers helping strangers, and citizens reaching out for those in need. We pray for the Americans impacted by the devastating storms and wildfires that struck our nation. We mourn for the victims of the horrible shootings that stole so many innocent lives. And we thank God for the police, firefighters, paramedics, and rescue workers who put themselves in harm's way to save others. The people of this nation come from all different backgrounds, but we are all one people and one American family. We all share the same heart, the same home, and the same glorious destiny. And we are all bound together by the common bonds of love, loyalty, and affection that make our country into a wonderful home. Together we give thanks for the loved ones who grace our lives and for the heroes who protect our nation. And we ask for God's continued blessings on this magnificent land. Our country is doing very well. Our stock market has hit a new all-time high. Unemployment is at a 17-year low. We've created $5.5 trillion worth of values. We are doing something very special. People are feeling it. The enthusiasm in this country has never been higher. We're very, very happy on this Thanksgiving Day. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.